We're going to talk about a few of the different types of topwater lures that are available. What's in front of you here is just kind of a selection of a few. There's definitely many different types and many more than what I have in front of you here, but these are just kind of what I have on hand. The types that I use for the kind of fishing that I usually do, which is bass fishing, but there are other types, but I thought I'd just kind of touch on a few of the basics. I got them broken up into different groups here, kind of. These two here on the top left these are what you call prop baits. You can see they have these props that spin on them, and you kind of work these like a jerk bait. You cast them out and you're gonna jerk and twitch the rod fast or as slow as you want, depending on what the fish want. And these props are gonna spin and they spit and splash and shoot off all sorts of a bunch of water, and they're kind of a loud, attention getting type bait. Come in all sorts of sizes and shapes, as you can see. These three up here on the top right, these are more of what you call the walking baits or the pencil style baits. They have different names, but the reason they're called the walking baits is because they have that, what they call the walk the dog action when you work them. You kind of work these again like a jerk bait. These take a little bit of practice to learn. You kind of just jerk the rod in a slow to fast cadence depending on what the fish want or how you're doing it. But when you're jerking that rod, these baits kind of walk back and forth and zigzag from side to side. They don't put off quite the amount of water that the prop baits do, but they put off a good amount of commotion, and then, as you could probably hear, most of the time they have real loud rattles in them. And they can be all sorts of different styles, like this smaller size, and this one here is even made to look like a frog. These three baits right here, these are what you call buzz baits. These are probably the easiest type of topwater to use. You just cast these out and you reel them in. And these blades sit on top of the water and spin and just put off all sorts of splash and commotion, and they're very loud, and some of them have a little clacker like this one here. They come in all sorts of different sizes. This is a real small one. Sometimes you'll see buzz baits that have more than one blade. They'll have two arms and they have the two spinning blades. It just puts off even louder noise and more water. They can come in very large size like this. Again, those are just, you cast them out and you reel them in. Super easy to use, but a lot of fun at the same time. These three baits here, these are what you call poppers. These come in, bigger sizes than this, but this is probably your standard size. They have a little cup-shaped lip. These, again, you're going to be using, or the technique really is jerking the rod and twitching the rod. And once you get good, you can kind of make these do a walk the dog action, but they're more just of a straight retrieve, and they have this action when you're jerking the rod, and that cup-shaped lip makes the water splash out and puts off kind of a popping sound, which is why they get the popper. Again, a loud and good attention-getting lure for the fish. These two here, they look like crankbaits, and they are crankbaits, but a lot of times people put these in the topwater category because these particular baits, they're called wake baits. They have real small lips at a real steep angle, as you can see, and they go sometimes just a couple of inches below the water, so you can really see them from the surface too, and they put off a wake on top of the water because they're so close to the surface. They just work like a crankbait. You cast them out and reel them in, and most of the time these are going to have rattles too. These three here are topwater hollow body frogs. These are a super fun bait again. Again, you're going to be twitching the rod, giving it little jerks and pauses. All sorts of different types of frogs from shapes and sizes. Like these two here are pretty realistic looking. They have the rubber skirted legs. And this is kind of a hybrid between a popper and a frog. This is a frog that has the cup-shaped lip, so it's worked just like a popper. It gives off the same sort of splashing action. Then this here is kind of a newer bait that hasn't been out for too long, but they call them topwater toads or buzzing frogs. They have these big legs with the paddles, and you cast them out and you work them like a buzz bait, really. You just cast them out and reel them in, and these legs kick and give off a lot of splash and wake and movement in the water. They can be fished in just about any type of cover too, so they're extremely weedless, which is nice. But that's just kind of a brief overview of a few different types of topwaters. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact the guys at Poseidon, and they'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. So, thanks a lot.